Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's Value Talk. And today's Value Talk, I expected as much. Participation is going to be very, very good, and it is, and rightly so. But submission, a confession, in fact, this is the first time I'm going to interview an IAS officer, serving an IAS officer. So, any kind of nervousness on my part, or palpitations, or anything, if you notice, please pardon me. And so we have today, our guest is Lieutenant Colonel Amol Awate, veteran and IAS officer. Lieutenant Colonel Amol is from 18 Guards, and he's Civil Services batch of 2021, Gujarat cadre. And this was his first attempt for civil services, and he appeared while he was in service. Right. So Colonel Awate is ex-Guards. He's a Guards officer and Civil Services batch of 2021. And he has been very kind and gracious to spare his time and join us today to guide us as to how other people can emulate and follow his path. And Amol, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Welcome. And you can see we are full house. As I told you that I expect a full house, and 150 officers, 150 people joining on a Friday evening. You can well imagine how much people have been waiting for this talk. Thank you so much for agreeing to spare time for us, Amol.
Thank you, sir. In fact, I should convey my thanks to you that you gave me an opportunity, because individually I used to receive a lot of calls from officers from social media. So I thought might as well I should contact you and get in contact on a Google Meet, so that the access is available to most of the officers, sir.
Thank you so much, Amol. And as I said earlier, this is the first time I am interviewing an IAS officer, so any kind of nervousness, please pardon me. So welcome to the show. And before we start the talk, how are you feeling, Amol?
Good. I actually feel so good that I come from Army background, and it's like becoming a youngster again, because the age bracket of all IAS officers who are my batchmate over here is about 27 to 29 years. I'm the eldest amongst all. So I feel young, and I feel like I have become a young officer again, sir.
Oh,
Nice meeting you.
definitely. And you must be feeling like, what is that called? Co-senior.
Yes, sir, co-senior.
Wonderful. So, Amol, I'll not waste much time because I know people are going to have a lot of questions today. First thing, what motivated you to transition from the Army to IAS? Not many people attempt that, and that too when you were, pretty senior in this thing, and you did it while you were in service. So how did you decide this path?
So it just came as a circumstance, sir. It was peak of COVID, and I had, I think, finished about 18 and a half years of service. Like most of the people who were planning to leave at the age of at the service of 20 years, generally people plan to do an MBA from some of the IIMs and then get into the corporate world.
Right.
So in my case, I thought, because, till the time I passed, I was actually, frankly speaking, not even clear that am I eligible? Is the UPSC going to accept me? Is my candidature clear from the DOPT, that is Department of Personnel and Training, like what we have got the MS branch.
Right.
So I was not very clear. So, it just happened by circumstances. And I was also planning to quit after 20 years. So I thought instead of going to, management college, I might as well try civil services. And incidentally, this was my first and last attempt. And I come from general category, and the last attempt to appear for the civil services with the Army reservation was 42 years. So I was precisely 41 years, few months when I filled up the form, sir. And luckily it happened in the first attempt itself, sir. So it just happened by circumstances.
Okay. So any major challenge which you faced, I'll say, what were the biggest challenges you faced during the transition process? And of course, how did you overcome them? I'm sure there must have been many.
So what happens in case of people who generally appeal for civil services, there are a couple of areas in Delhi, like we have got old Rajendra Nagar.
Right.
So that area at a time will have almost 1 lakh students from all over the country coming and studying there. Secondly, civil services is a totally different domain. Like my batchmates over here, about 73% are engineers. Out of those engineers, 50% are from IITs. And we have got, out of the batch of 180, we have got 21 people who are from different IIMs. So the competition you fight is, a very thick competition, sir. So
Right.
I had on my part, multiple aspects to be done. First of all, I had my office and I was actually in ops branch. I was G1 ops of Dakshin Bharat area when I was studying. So it was fairly hectic. And in case of most of the other student, people come and stay away from their house so they can study for 18 hours, 16 hours. But maybe in my case, the major challenge was management of time. So I think, couple of hours early in the morning, and then, starting my studies after the office hours. And Saturday and Sunday, I took furlough twice and complete AL and CL. And that is how I manage my studies, sir.
Wow, that really calls for some kind of dedication. So before we go ahead, Amol, can there are many people who are preparing, and there are most maybe just wanting to know the process also. They may not be aware. So can you tell us what is the process, basic process? I mean, there are prelims and mains and interviews. What are the subjects and all? Just in short.
So the exam is conducted in 3 phases. The first phase is the prelims. And the forms for the prelims generally come in the month of February. It is a online application one has to fill. And after the prelims, there are 2 papers. One is your general studies and one is CSAT. So general studies is about all the general knowledge, and CSAT is a combination of English comprehension and mathematical problems as to what we have for NDA and CDS. The prelims paper is something which decides your candidature for the examination, because generally the passing marks is about 50%. It has got negative marking. The CSAT paper, that is the second paper. The CSAT paper, one has to get only about 34%, 33.66. So once it is a qualifying paper, so once you qualify that paper, that finishes. You just have to appear for it and qualify. Then comes the second phase, sir, which is mains. In mains, one has to appear for 9 papers, sir. And out of that,
9?
one has, yes, sir. And they are all subjective. The examination is conducted over a period of 2 weeks. And each day, individual has to appear for 2 papers. So you end up writing for about 6 hours every day.
Oh.
Yeah. And there are 4 papers of general studies and 2 papers are there of your specialized subject. In my case, I have taken geography as a special subject. And the total marks for the mains are 1750. And after the mains are over, people who qualify for the mains, then they go for the interview. And the total marks for the interview is 275 marks, sir. So it makes a total of 1750 plus 275, and that is what decides your merit. The UPSC conducts mains examination all over the country, wherever the centers for the Indian CDS are there. They have got permanent centers all over the country. As far as the interview is concerned, you have to go to Delhi at Dholpur House, and the interview is conducted over there, sir. So this is the general trend.
Right. So it's quite an exhaustive process. And how did you prepare? Did you take any classes, coaching, and what was the schedule like?
So what happened that I decided to appear at the peak of COVID.
Right.
So I never had the privilege of going to classes. Even if classes was available, it was very difficult to manage office and then go to classes, because civil services classes are about 6 to 8 hours every day.
Right.
So basically, I started with Unacademy. Unacademy is a site where you get ready-made online learning.
Right.
And I bought all the books which were supposed to be used for the civil services. I started initially for first about 2 months with NCRT, starting from 5th class till about 10th class. That is something which makes your background for the examination, sir. And then slowly and deliberately.
Sorry, 5th to 10th of what subjects?
NCRT, sir, civil services had got basic subject, that is history. History is divided into 3 parts. That is ancient history, the medieval history, and the modern history. Then comes your economics, politics, and geography. So these are the basic subjects. And you generally, there are specialized books for it, but when person starts preparing for it, he should start with NCRT, because that is the background. And then he can come to specialized subject. Like for politics, we have got a book called Lakshmikant. Then for environment, we have got Shankar IAS. So these are the books. Anyone can go to internet and just find out from Google as to what are the books used. The same books are used by all candidates, and they are the same books for multiple years. They get updated every year, sir. And that is how it is, sir.
So I wouldn't be wrong if all the officers who are aspiring to go this way, if they are aspiring to be IAS, and if they are in last 2 years, I mean, they have 1 year plus left, it is better to start clarifying their concepts by going through books 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. That is the way they should start doing, right? So
Yes,
that
sir.
is a good path.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because what happens that most of us generally are into the grid of competitive examination. We are all appeared for ND and CDS, and maybe this time the studies are more in depth. They are more in specifics. But generally, we have got inclination of solving that competitive question paper. So most of the army officers who get into it work for a year and a half should not have much problem as far as the civil services prelims is concerned, sir.
Right. So when did you start preparing, but?
So I started preparing 15th of March 2020.
And when did you appear?
My examination was it got delayed. October 20 was the prelim, sir.
Acha.
Yeah.
October. So it's March 2020 you started preparing, and October 2020 was the prelims. So
Yes, sir.
you got approximately 1.5 years.
Yes, sir.
And was it an academy which was the only this thing you joined, or did you join some regular this thing like Rao's IAS and Circle, Rajendra Nagar mein jo hai?
No, I never got an opportunity, sir, because I wanted my leave to be saved just because I wanted to study about month and a half before the examination. And for classes, physical presence is important. Online classes are not much of use, sir. But yes, Unacademy or maybe Byju's or even Vajiram and Ravi, then we have got Vision IS. All these people can give you a background as to how you can study. They can just help you as to, what are the guidelines on which you have to write your papers or how to interpret a specific question. So that is what they can guide you. But I personally feel, or my personal opinion is, that one has to sit down with books and study dedicatedly. That should be more than enough.
So, Amol, tell me, you have been from the armed forces background, that to a very long stint. First of all, tell me, you had already completed 20 years of service, right?
No, sir. I planned my exit that way. Like I left army on August 13, 2022, and I joined the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy after 10 days. So I have gap just of 10 days, sir. So I planned my exit, sir.
So did you, I came to know that you had some kind of age waiver. So what was that age waiver which you could get, and what is the criteria for that?
So like the age waiver at UPSC are of different types. Again, I try and compare it with Indian CDA just because we all can correlate very easily to it. Defense Services is the only organization where there is no caste-based reservation.
Right.
But when you come to civil services, there is a reservation of all types: scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC. There is a reservation for people who have got injury which is attributable to military service. Then there are people who have got disabilities. So I have got waiver of the disability thing, sir. I had a ankle injury, sir, which I sustained when I was posted in United Nations. And that is something which gave me a waiver of 10 years. And that is how I am a general category candidate. Last age to appear for civil services is 32 years, but I've got a waiver of 10 years. It makes 42 years. And that is how I got it 10 years.
Right. So anybody having a disability, is there a proportion that this disability has to be of this nature or something? Is there any kind of ruling on that?
So the disability in this case is something called a benchmark disability. And the benchmark disability has to be more than 40%.
Okay.
And this is not military disability. For this disability, you have to go to the civil hospital. You have to give an application to the CMO. And the CMO orders a board. And after the board is ordered, they will issue a disability certificate. And this is the disability certificate which you have to upload on the UPSC site the moment you start filling your form, sir.
So, and this CMO means it has to be from a government hospital?
Yes, sir. It has to be from the government hospital.
Right. That is something which it's a very useful information for all those who may have got some kind of disability, and they can also try this path. So you have been in the armed forces for a very long period. So कहते हैं ना कि you can go out of फौज, लेकिन फौज तुम्हारे अंदर से नहीं जाती, तो there must be some skills, and experience from your military service which you found most helpful in your new role as IAS. So
many things. First of all, it starts with getting up early in the morning. So I am the most comfortable person to get up early in the morning. Day starts here at about 5:30. And Mussoorie is fairly cold, sir. Even the temperature outside now is about 5 to 6 degrees Celsius. So the first thing helps is, getting up early in the morning. Second thing helps is physical fitness. You generally stay active even after having a ankle injury, sir. I am generally very active. And you come with so much of service. There are inbuilt things like the way you talk to people, the way you wear your clothes. Like I could have been in a t-shirt now, but the army, like the belonging to the organization is such that you're also wearing tie and I'm also wearing tie, sir. So we can't present ourselves in a shabby way. But maybe here people, there is not much of strict rules as far as dressing is concerned as what we had in our academies. That is how it is. Means that, as you said, you may be out of the army, but the army don't go out of you for a long time. So I
Yeah,
guess I'm still sailing into it, sir.
very
And
right.
one more thing, sir. Like even the most important phase of civil services is mains, where you have to write those 9 papers. So I think the service writing, that is minor SD and major SD, that is
Yeah,
something which helped me a lot.
I'm
Like
sure. I'm sure.
like I have made a diagram in my mind as to how I am going to answer a question. An 8-mark question, you get 5 minutes. If you don't finish in 5 minutes, you do 5 minutes 30 seconds. You can't attempt the last question. If you do it two questions, like take 5.5 minutes for 2 questions, you will lose 1 questions. And the repercussions are such, and the competition is so thick that you lose 2 questions in your mains. You will find you are coming from Indian Administrative Services to Indian Postal Service and Indian Defense Audit Service and Indian Defense Account Service. That is what that 10 marks makes. So,
Right.
that service writing of introduction, making a small diagram, 1, 2, 3, 4, conclusion, your own comments. That is something which has helped me throughout.
Lovely. I think this is one of the most important thing which people don't realize. It's so simple, and some of the qualities, some of the things which we have learned in army, some of the skills which we have acquired while being in uniform, and how they can be useful outside. And it's not only in IAS, even in corporate sector also, these skills of putting down in point form and then some para or something and conclusion, it really helps. It shows clarity of thought basically, and you are able to present the picture in a very concise manner. So now you have seen this side of the fence also. You have been in armed forces, and then where we always used to criticize bureaucracy. Now you are a bureaucrat. What are the key differences you have noticed between the culture and work environment of military and the IAS?
Okay, sir. In fact, seeing from the other side, what you think, I completely agree with that, sir. But now being an IAS myself, sir, I realized that the Indian Administrative Service has got immense respect for Army. There is no second thought to it. Immense respect. And wherever I go, people don't treat me like a normal candidate, but I am a normal candidate. I am here starting my career at the base level again. The sea difference which I see in the two organizations is that in army you are always under command of someone. As a lieutenant captain, you are under a company commander,
Right.
and when you become a company commander, you are under the commanding officer, then the brigade commander, then the GOC, and it goes on. But in IS, you are trained, you are groomed, and you are posted as an autonomous entity in itself. Like I have been allotted the Gujarat cadre, my first posting is going to be SDM. So as an SDM, the complete mahkama jo bhi hoga in whatever district I go, that is going to be under the SDM. It may be the police, it may be the water, it may be health services, it may be law and order, it may be protection of women, it may be whatever you say. Everything comes under the SDM. So you are an autonomous entity. So I think there are the two major differences. In army, you are protected, you are always taken care of. There are people to guide you. You can make mistake. But in civil services, you are very independent. They make you in such a way, or maybe create a personality out of in such a way that you tend yourself to be autonomous entity. And
Absolutely.
that's a, yeah,
The
that happens
responsibility is
only,
immense.
yeah, that happens only in the administrative services. You will not find that thing happening in the case of revenue service, or maybe from the foreign services, even for that matter, the police services also. That happens only in the administrative service.
Quite right. The responsibility is immense, and at a very young age, you have so much of experience. But I'm sure your batchmates who are there in IS Academy, who are your batchmates, they must have been so young age. They have so much of responsibility on their shoulders. Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. So, what are some of the we have already talked about? But what are some of the key skills and competencies that are required to be a good IAS success as an IAS officer? And how can armed forces officers develop these skills?
So first of all, the basic thing which comes in, I think, very high standards of integrity. Army always teaches you to be very straightforward. That is the basic quality which people groom you into, even as an IAS officer, sir. Second thing is what army teaches you is planning for all types of contingencies. As an IAS officer, you will find in a district where you're a district collector, things are so dynamic, and you're working upon under different pressures. The pressure may be from a politician, the pressure may be from a protest happening somewhere, the pressure may be law and order situation. So conducting yourself under that pressure, That is something which is of a lot of importance. And I think Army teaches you a lot and grooms you a lot into that. Even a short service commission officer, about 5 to 7 years of service, is fairly groomed. And I think he can conduct himself very well compared to most of the officers coming to this place, sir.
So, Amol, tell me, you said 32 is the age, right? 32 is
Yes, sir.
the age for a normal this thing. So, and I mean, if somebody wants to go this path, whether he's from uniform forces, I mean, from uniform fraternity, or whether from our children or anybody who's there, who's attending the talk, and their family members, etc. How much of preparation is required? Chalo, let's talk about armed forces officers. How much of in duration? If you can just break it down somehow, is it 1 year, 1.5 years daily? Then is there some kind of formula which can be just as a guideline? If
Yes,
everybody
sir.
has their own, IQ levels.
So first of all, armed forces officer are already a selected lot. So they have already gone through the procedure of selection and they are not a normal candidate. So even if a normal candidate may take 3 years, like we have candidates over here who has got attempted 8 times, and 9 times he has got the administrative services. And one of my batchmates over here, and he has been graduating. About 6 years back, he got the Indian Postal Service. Then again studied, got into Indian Audit and Account Service, and that is how slowly. And last year he got the Indian, 2020, he got the Indian Police Service, and finally in 2021 he got the Indian Administrative Service. But what happens in case of army officers is that we are already an elite group. So I think dedicated study, but I mean dedicated means they should study dedicatedly. They have to just leave everything. 1.5 to 2 years, I think, is more than enough, sir. But dedicated studies, one has to sit continuously for about 12 to 14 hours every day.
Right. Right. So that means you have to be very determined. You have to be very focused. You must have clarity of thought that this is what you want, not anything else. I mean, you can't be sailing in two boats. चलो IAS भी try कर लेते हैं और साथ से ऐसे करते हैं, Amazon भी try करते रहते हैं. It can't be. This can't happen. It requires single focus. You have to be very targeted. So my advice to everyone, as told by Amol, be very clear whether you want to tread this path or not. Only then take a plunge. So, okay, before I ask the last question, gentlemen, please do subscribe to Telegram channel of Value Talks. I'm going to post the links in the description box, chat box, and also, by growing in number, it gives us, it enhances our reach. We can reach to people who are in seat of power, and of course, we will take, in times to come, we will take help of people like Amol, and also in corporate sector, once makes it that much easier for us to reach out to them when we tell them that we have a following of, say, 10,000 people or 12,000 people or something. The HR of any or a CTO of any corporate is willing to listen to us when we tell them that we have this kind of following, and then they agree, okay, then I think it will be a noble cause and all those things. So it's very important that we grow the fraternity, and whatever we are doing is to make your transition very, very smooth. So the Telegram channel, this thing is already there. And I will also shortly, I will post other this thing. So Amol, my question to you is, Forge you have gone out of Forge. Has the Forge gone out of you?
No, sir, it will never go, sir. That is what the Great Forge is all about.
Great. So I'm sure that you will keep, after today, you will have a lot of requests to connect on LinkedIn, and there'll be, and once this video is released in another 3-4 days, and a lot of people will reach out to you, will reach out to us, connect them to you. I'm sure in whatever ways you will take out some time and try and guide those people, and I'm very sure of it. I'm just letting you know that this is going to happen. So do take out time and help them whenever anybody approaches you for any kind of help, right? So
yes, sir, definitely, sir.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You Gotta work, never tell, keep your head down.